The Montgomery Boycott. Martin Luther King Jr. was a major activist and influential voice for the civil rights movement from 1954 to 1968. He is mostly famous for his I Have a Dream speech on August 28, 1968, which described his aspirations toward integration and harmony between Black and white Americans. Unfortunately, he was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. However, his influential speech and activism has had a prominent effect on legal and social racial equality within the United States. The Montgomery Boycott was a civil rights protest that took place in Montgomery, Alabama from December 5th to December 20th, 1955. Black Americans were forced to ride on the back of buses, while white Americans were given the privilege of always being able to sit in the front. If the bus was full and a white person wanted to sit in the back, a Black passenger still had to give up their seat because they were thought of as inferior to their white counterparts. Led by Martin Luther King Jr., Black citizens of Montgomery, Alabama, decided to protest their disdain for racial segregation laws by not traveling by bus until something changed for the better. 381 days later, the Supreme Court ruled segregation on public buses as unconstitutional. A memoir is a nonfiction literary device about an author's perspective during a specific period of their life. Montgomery Boycott by Coretta Scott King is a memoir about the days leading up to Martin Luther King Jr.'s boycott idea and the events that followed from the point of view of his wife. She described Martin Luther King Jr. as being very passionate about gathering people from across the town to take part in the peaceful protests so that they could silently create change. One of the literary elements that stood out to me personally was the theme of the story. A peaceful revolt led to the Supreme Court ruling of unconstitutional segregation on public buses. It truly showed me how much strength there is in unity and harmony. Instead of handling it with anger right away, Martin Luther King Jr. made sure he communicated with all of the members of the churches nearby at his gathering to let them know about the plans to not use the public bus for work, school, or on any other event. He knew that this would spark a better chance of equality. I love that this memoir was told from the perspective of Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, Coretta Scott King. She was the only other person who was close enough to him to give a reliable perspective on how he was feeling during his planning and how unified he made other Black citizens feel when he spoke out about inequality. He truly did not believe that violence was the way to resolve major conflicts, and he handled everything with grace due to his faith in God.